welcome back to Pika, where every night we explore fascinating why questions and gently lull you to sleep. Tonight, let's join Pika to find out, why does it rain? Listen along to discover the answer and drift off into a deep sleep. You don't even see it coming. One quiet afternoon, while you're perched on your favorite wobbly twig above the garden, something plinks right on your beak. It's cold, it's wet, it's confusing. You blink twice, shake your feathers, and look up. The sky above isn't blue anymore. It's dressed in a soft, thick blanket of gray. The sun has gone into hiding. You tilt your little head. What was that tiny drop doing up there, all by itself? Did it fall on purpose? You're a small bird with a round belly and feathers that fluff out like a dandelion puff. Your name is Nono, and you have questions now. Important ones, urgent ones, bird-sized mysteries that stretch all the way to the clouds. Another droplet lands on your tail, then another near your toes. You hop twice, unsure if this is sky mischief or something much grander. Is someone up there dropping water bowls? You flap your wings, light and fast, lifting off from the branch. The garden below shimmers in new speckles of wet. Flowers glisten like they've been licked by stars. Somewhere, a worm squeals and dives back into the soil. The rain, soft and patchy, is tickling everything awake. But you aren't here to admire the shine. You're on a mission now. Where did that water come from? Who started this? And how does the sky, of all things, hold something as heavy as water? You rise higher, pushing through a breeze that smells faintly of puddles and grass. There's that gray blanket above, puffing and stretching and curling like it's got secrets. You squint. It doesn't look solid. More like whipped cream that forgot how to be tasty. Still, one question taps on your mind harder than the raindrops tapped your feathers. Why does it rain? Maybe, you wonder, the clouds are old buckets with tiny cracks. Or maybe the sky gets sad sometimes, and those are its tears falling down. Silly thoughts swirl like wind behind your wings as you climb higher. The air thins a little, grows cooler. Your feathers rustle. That gray fluff looms large now, wide as mountains, soft as dreams. It shivers with a kind of energy that feels alive. A squirrel once told you clouds were made of cotton. But then again, that squirrel also tried to marry a pine cone, so you're not sure he's the best source. Suddenly, another drop kisses your cheek, and another. A soft patter now, not loud or scary. Like the world is gently applauding your curiosity. Somewhere far off, you think you hear frogs cheering. But what is this watery applause made of? You flap into a glide, tracing the edge of a drifting cloud. It swirls and puffs around you, changing shape like it's thinking, like it's watching you too. There's no bucket, no leaky pipe, just endless softness. You wonder quietly, like a whisper in your heart. Maybe clouds are just sky catchers, gathering stories, holding on until they overflow. And if that's true, you really want to meet one up close. Maybe even talk to it if clouds know how to chat. A rumble rolls far beneath like a distant snore. The world is shifting. The garden you left behind glows softer now, veiled by drizzle and hush. The wind feels different up here, more like a sigh than a push. And the rain, it seems, isn't just one thing. its rhythm, its language. It's the sky whispering to the world below. And tonight, little Nono, you've decided to listen. You flap higher, chasing the place where the gray begins. Below you, the garden blurs under a thin veil of mist, like a watercolor painting left out in the drizzle. The familiar smells of flowers, soil, and damp wood drift upward, clinging to your feathers. It smells like secrets. It smells like beginnings. The cloud floats just above, lazy and wide, like it has nowhere to be and all the time to get there. You reach out a wingtip and brush its edge. It isn't cotton, not really. It doesn't feel like anything at all, just cool and damp, like breathing in a sigh. Don't poke it too hard, croaks a voice behind you. Startled, you flap and spin mid-air. A round, iridescent pigeon flutters alongside, his wings shining like oil on a puddle. "You'll scare it," he says. His voice is smooth, like he's been through 100 storms and dried off in all of them. Clouds are shy. You blink. Do you know why it's raining? Depends on who's asking. He winks. But since you're clearly soaked and curious, let's take a stroll along the top. You follow, wings flapping steadily beside the old pigeon as you both rise into the low-hanging cloud. The air here is damp and still, like being inside a wet breath. Around you, the mist thickens until the world becomes shapes and shadows. "So," you chirp softly, "is this where the rain lives?" "In a way," the pigeon says. "Rain starts here, but it doesn't end here." You squint. The cloud isn't just one big puff. It's made of millions of tiny floating bits. They sparkle faintly as you pass through, like dust caught in a sunbeam. These little ones, the pigeon explains, are water droplets. So small, they can just hang out in the air, floating together. That's what makes up a cloud. You tilt your head. But how did they get here? He chuckles. Ah, that's the beginning of the beginning. And he points his wing down, back toward the garden, the trees, the ponds, the puddles. Water rises, he says, from the ground, the lakes, even your feathers if you shake them hard enough. It turns into something called vapor, tiny invisible bits that float up when the air is warm. You gasp. So, water can become invisible? Absolutely, he grins, like a sneaky magician. Poof. The idea makes you giggle. You imagine a lake disappearing under a magician's cape, or a puddle waving goodbye before lifting off into the sky like a bubble. All that vapor, the pigeon continues, rises and cools as it goes higher. The air up here is colder, and cold air makes the vapor clump together again into droplets. That's how clouds are born. You stare around at the mist. So this whole cloud was made from puddles, ponds, and even wet wings? That's kind of amazing, you whisper. It is, the pigeon agrees. It's teamwork. Earth sends up its water, and the sky gathers it into a cloud. It's like a giant, fluffy bucket, only it doesn't have a bottom. You laugh. Then how does it not fall all at once? Patience, the pigeon says. Clouds don't drop water until they're full, really full. Then gravity wins and raindrops fall. You flap beside him, thoughtful. So the sky doesn't cry because it's sad? He grins. Nope, the sky cries because it's sharing. The idea settles in your feathers like warmth. You drift silently through the cloud, wings brushing moisture that clings like morning dew. The mist wraps around you, gentle and quiet. You breathe it in, and it feels like the sky is exhaling stories all around you. And just then, a tiny droplet lands on your beak again, Not cold this time, familiar. You look down, back toward the garden below, and imagine the pond lifting bits of itself skyward, the flowers sighing their morning drink into vapor, and the puddles turning into clouds. You feel small in the best way, like you're part of something old and kind. You glance sideways. "What's your name?" you ask the pigeon. "Mo," he says, short for moisture, "but only my friends call me that." You smile. "Nice to meet you, Mo." He winks. "Nice to meet you too, cloud chaser." You drift on, wrapped in damp grayness, surrounded by floating droplets born from faraway places. Somewhere down there, a frog croaks softly in the mist. A leaf catches a drop like a kiss, and you, little Nono, are learning the sky's soft language. One puff, one shimmer, one drop at a time. Maybe the sky isn't high up at all. Maybe it's just around us, waiting to be seen. Mo flaps ahead, vanishing briefly into a thick patch of cloud. You follow, your wings slicing softly through the damp air. The mist here is cooler, denser, like walking through chilled soup. Then suddenly, you burst out the other side, and the sky opens wide again. Below you, the garden is smaller now, just a soft blur of green and brown. The wind up here is quieter, more focused, like it's listening. See that? Mo points his wing towards the horizon. A cluster of fluffy clouds floats in formation like a sleepy parade. That one, he nods at a wide, round cloud that seems heavier than the rest, is a collector. It's been gathering moisture all day. A collector? You echo. Mo circles as you both approach the cloud, which shifts in shape as if aware of your presence. It looks like a giant marshmallow dreaming of rain. Some clouds, Mo explains, are just passing through, but collectors are serious. They sponge up all the moisture from the air around them. Warm air lifts it up, and these clouds drink it in like thirsty giants. You stare at the thick belly of the cloud. It puffs gently, like it's breathing. Every so often, it ripples. Want to peek inside? Mo offers, already gliding lower. You hesitate. Can we? We're birds, he says with a chuckle. Of course we can. So you dip your wings and follow him down into the very heart of the collector cloud. Inside, it's quieter than you imagined. No thunder, no roar, just silence, like a deep thought. The mist is so thick now that you can barely see Mo ahead. But then something sparkles. Tiny dots, shimmering like fairy dust, float all around you. They're droplets, not quite big enough to fall, but not invisible anymore either. They're in limbo, Mo says softly. Waiting. For what? To become something bigger. As you drift through, you notice the droplets slowly bump into each other. Some of them merge, tiny whispers becoming soft claps. Then another pair fuses, and another. They join together, Mo says, until they're too heavy. That's when they fall. You squint at one of the merging drops. It wobbles as it absorbs a neighbor, then starts to shimmer brighter, like it's proud. Wait, you chirp. So raindrops are team players? Mo grins. You could say that. No single drop falls alone. It always takes a crowd to become a rainstorm. You pause mid-air, imagining tiny droplets high-fiving each other as they merge. One says, "I'm ready." Another says, "Let's do this together." And then, splat, they leap. That idea makes you giggle again. You can't help it. The sky is full of teamwork. Who knew? But how do they know when it's time, you ask? Mo flutters in a slow loop, when the air around them can't hold them up anymore. Warm air holds vapor, sure, but once it cools and the droplets grow big enough, gravity takes over. You look down at your little feet. So, gravity is like the friend who says, "Okay guys, party's over, time to go." Mo cackles. Exactly. Another droplet joins its neighbor right in front of your beak. They become one. It wiggles, then starts drifting downward. You watch it fall slowly, disappear into the gray beneath. Does it ever get scared? You whisper. Mo tilts his head. Maybe. Or maybe it's excited. After all, falling means it's finally going home. You look up at the cloud's soft ceiling, then down again. You imagine puddles becoming clouds, clouds making drops, drops returning to the earth. A thought brushes your feathers. Maybe every raindrop is part of a round-trip ticket. You both drift in silence for a while, the mist folding gently around your wings. Somewhere far away, a distant rumble hums like a sleepy drum. "I think I like clouds," you say. Mo grins. Most birds do, just not during lightning season. You chuckle, but your mind is still buzzing. Clouds aren't just sky fluff. They're alive with quiet decisions, with tiny mergers, with invisible vapor turned visible again. You glide to the edge of the cloud and peek down. Below, faint streaks of rain now fall from the underside, drifting like slow tears. A drop hits your wing. You smile. "Time to go?" you ask. "Time to get a little soggy." Mo nods. The rain below is gentle now. It doesn't roar. It tiptoes. And little Nono, wings outstretched, begins the glide downward toward the drizzle, ready to feel what a collector cloud has to offer. The drizzle begins as a whisper on your wings. It's soft, barely there, just enough to make your feathers glisten and your chest puff up from the tickle. You stretch one leg out dramatically and wobble in the air like a performer in the rain. Mo chuckles above you. "Welcome to the fall," he says, gliding in slow spirals. Every drop here used to be a cloud's secret. Now it's letting go. You're not just watching the rain now, you're inside it. Each droplet zips past you like a tiny parachuter. Some land on your tail, others race by your beak. And you can feel it, the sheer number of them, so many drops. Too many to count. You try anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, no, 6, 10. Oh, never mind. The sky laughs softly with you, showering more drops like it's sprinkling seeds. You shake your feathers. The water soaks in gently. Your wings grow a little heavier, your chest damp, your belly tickled by the cool air brushing under wet feathers. Down below, the world drinks. Trees lift their arms in joy. Leaves curl gently to cup the falling drops. The garden, once still out, is now a dance floor of ripples and sighs. And you, little Nono, are the guest of honor at the rain parade. Mo glides closer, his shiny feathers now slick and sparkling. "You know," he says, "there's no real switch that turns rain on. The cloud just gets full and can't hold on anymore. So it just lets go." You nod, feeling another drop tap your beak. "That's right," he says. And letting go is nature's way of giving back. You drift downward, watching the rain patter onto the surface of a wide, shallow pond. The splash patterns are mesmerizing, some like circles chasing each other, others like tiny crowns forming for a moment before vanishing. You land softly on a stone at the edge of the pond. Water drips from your wings and down your little legs. You don't mind. Not anymore. In fact, being soggy has never felt so satisfying. Next to you, a wide-eyed frog blinks up from a lily pad. His head is damp, his smile calm. First rain this week, he croaks lazily. Smells good, doesn't it? You nod. It's like the sky washed everything. The frog sniffs dramatically and left behind the best cologne. You giggle, tucking your wings close. Mo lands beside you, puffing slightly. The frog continues. Rain isn't just about falling. It's about returning. This pond, it owes its life to the sky's generosity. You glance at the water again. It's rising just a little. So the water goes up and comes back down? Mo chimes in. Exactly. It's called the water cycle, a loop that never stops. Water evaporates into vapor, forms clouds, rains down, and starts over. The frog nods wisely. Every puddle has been a cloud before. You let that sink in. Your reflection wiggles in the pond below. Your eyes wide, your feathers damp, your beak shiny with rain. You tilt your head. Maybe the rain is just the earth remembering itself. The drizzle lightens. The sun tries to peek through the clouds. A golden ray escapes, landing right on the pond, painting a sparkle that jumps with each drop. You blink. Does the rain always know where to go? Mo shrugs. Gravity pulls it down, but wind gives it a tour. Some rain travels miles before it lands. Some never touches the ground at all, just drifts, vanishes, gets caught by leaves or sipped by air. The frog hums. And some, he says with a wink, lands on curious birds who ask too many questions. You laugh, stretching your wings. I do ask a lot. Mo leans closer. That's what makes you a sky flyer. You sit quietly for a moment, just listening. The raindrops pat the pond, tap the lily pads, roll down petals like tiny dancers sliding down soft slides. Everything glows a little, like rain carries light too. A question bubbles in your mind. Do clouds ever miss their raindrops after they fall? Mo doesn't answer right away. He just watches the pond, eyes soft. Maybe, he says eventually. But they know the drops will rise again one day. That's the promise of the cycle. And with that, a warm breeze stirs. You feel it brush past your feathers, gentle and damp. The drizzle slows, the pond stills. A dragonfly skims the surface, trailing sparkles. The rain isn't gone, you realize. It's just moving on, becoming puddles, feeding roots, hiding in petals, getting ready for the next liftoff. And you, soggy and content, know now what the clouds tried to tell you. Rain isn't an end, it's a beautiful middle. You shake off the last of the drizzle and take to the air once more. Droplets flinging from your wings like tiny jewels. The world below gleams. Trees scrubbed clean, flowers perked up. Even the rocks seem to stand a little taller. The garden smells earthy and rich, like someone opened the lid on a secret spice jar. But you aren't done. Not yet. Now you want to know something deeper. Where does the water go once it falls? Surely it doesn't just sit in puddles forever. You glide toward the edge of the forest, where the pond seeps into a soft stream. The water there trickles forward lazily, winding between mossy rocks and curling roots. You land beside it, watching the surface ripple. Then something green and wet and wiggly peeks up. "Careful," croaks the stream frog dramatically. "You nearly stepped on my song." You hop back. "Your what?" "My song," he says proudly, puffing his throat. "It's in the water now. Rain helped me sing it." You tilt your head. "Rain sings?" "Does everything," the frog grins. "It soaks in, it runs off, it collects, it feeds, and it moves." He gestures toward the stream with a slick toe. Every raindrop has somewhere to go. Some soak into the dirt, some run along rocks, but many, they start a journey. They become part of this. You gaze at the stream. It's no longer just water. It's rain on the move, rain that once floated in clouds, once kissed your beak, now slipping past ferns and duckweed like it's late for a meeting. You flutter along its edge, watching how it bends and narrows, then widens again. It whispers over stones, tickles roots, hugs the curve of a hill. Mo lands beside you again. "This is runoff," he explains. "When the ground can't hold any more rain, it rolls off the surface and flows. Eventually, it finds rivers, lakes, oceans." "So raindrops never stop?" you ask. He smiles. "They rest." But they don't retire. As you glide downstream, you notice how the forest changes with the water. Leaves droop slightly heavier, trees seem greener, and the air carries the cool hush of something freshly washed. Then you spot something curious, a clump of leaves steaming ever so faintly in the sunlight. You hover near them. The warm air rising feels different, like a soft breath. You squint. "Is that water going up?" Mo nods. "That's evaporation. The sun warms the leaves, and the water that soaked into them starts turning into vapor again. It lifts off like a ghost, light as a sigh. You land on a twig above the leaves and watch the faint shimmer float upward. It's nearly invisible, but it's there. "So the water is already going back?" you whisper. "Yes," Mo says gently. "The cycle begins again the moment it ends. Earth never holds rain for long. It shares it, and then it sends it back." You sit with that for a while. Maybe raindrops are travelers with round-trip tickets and endless passports. You fly on, tracing the stream with your eyes. It curves past tree roots and disappears into thicker woods. Insects buzz, the forest hums. Somewhere, a woodpecker hammers rhythmically, like he's tapping the beat of the stream's journey. A gust of warm air brushes your wings like a whisper. You flap upward and notice the sunlight catching the tops of the trees now. The clouds are moving off, drifting toward another town. Another story. Mo rises beside you, feathers glowing slightly golden now. "Rain is a visitor," he says, "but the sky is always watching." You glance back at the pond, the stream, the soggy garden beyond. Do raindrops ever get lost? Mo shakes his head. They might take the long way, but they always end up exactly where they need to be. You like that thought. It makes you feel a little less lost, even as you fly without a map. Below, you spot a family of ants poking out of a hole, dragging wet crumbs and dancing in the sparkle of waterlogged moss. A butterfly flutters near a droplet, clinging to a petal. Everything is moving. Everything is growing. And above, the last mist of vapor twists silently toward the sky. A quiet wonder tickles the back of your mind. Maybe every raindrop dreams of flying long before it falls. You soar up again, following the shimmer of invisible water. It doesn't look like much, but it feels like something important. Like magic in science's clothing, and with your wings drying slowly, you glide higher once more, chasing not just clouds now, but the journey that connects them to Earth and back again. The wind is waiting for you. You feel it even before you see it. Cooler, stronger, playful. It rushes past your wings with a whoosh, nudging you gently sideways, then lifting you with a cheerful swoop. Whoa, you chirp, wobbling midair. Hey! Mo glides beside you, eyes squinting from the breeze. That, he calls, is your next teacher. The wind, you ask, trying to steady yourself. Yep, she's a little wild, but she moves everything. Clouds, rain, even you. You bank to the left and rise above the treetops. The wind twirls around you like an invisible ribbon, tugging at your feathers, spinning a leaf beside your beak before whisking it away. She sounds like she's laughing, you say. She always is. Mo nods. She never sits still. Wind is what happens when air tries to balance itself. Hot air rises, cool air rushes in, and together they dance. You flap harder to keep pace. So she helps with rain too? Mo smiles, in more ways than one. The wind carries warm air up, lifting vapor into the sky. It pushes clouds together, sometimes gently, sometimes with a shove. She's the sky's mover. You spin slowly in a thermal, feeling the invisible hand of the wind under your wing. Around you, bits of vapor shimmer, caught and flung like scattered secrets. The trees below sway in waves, as if bowing to something you can't quite see. Then a sudden gust tugs you toward a wide stretch of sky, where 3 clouds bump gently into one another, joining like soft pillows at a sleepover. See that? Mo gestures. Wind helped them find each other. When clouds gather, they grow. When they grow, they rain. So she's kind of like a matchmaker, you grin. Exactly. And sometimes a mischief maker. You glance below and spot a small sapling dancing like it's in a concert, its leaves flailing happily in every direction. Dust swirls from the path nearby. A feather, not yours, rises from nowhere and drifts into the sky like a message. The wind doesn't see, Mo says. She feels. She senses imbalance and fixes it with motion. That's why she flows from high pressure to low pressure, like water finding its level. You squint. Air has pressure? Everything does, he shrugs, even questions. You laugh and feel another strong push from behind. I think she wants us to follow. You both coast forward now, letting the wind carry you. It's easy flying when you let go of control. The breeze lifts you like it knows your wings better than you do. Beneath you, you spot another cloud forming. Not white, but grayer, heavier. That one looks different, you say. Mo nods. Storms start that way. The wind pushes moist air high, so high that the vapor cools fast, and clouds grow tall and dark. They become thunderclouds. You glide closer, squinting into the haze. The cloud looks like a mountain rising in the sky, layered and trembling with some quiet energy. It's beautiful, but a little scary too. So the wind does that, you ask? She helps, Mo answers. Not all storms are bad. They bring the water, remember? It's just a louder way of giving. As you hover near the edge of the darkening cloud, you feel the temperature drop. The wind swirls tighter here, more focused. It's like the sky is taking a deep breath. You watch the cloud pulse, building silently. I guess even the sky has moods, you whisper. Mo chuckles, just like birds. You both veer off before the thundercloud truly wakes, letting the wind carry you sideways across the open sky. The air warms again, the breeze softens. She's calmer here, you note. Wind isn't just a push, Mo says. She's a painter. She shapes clouds. She makes ripples on water. She lifts seeds. She helps dry things after the rain. You imagine the wind as a giant hand, brushing clouds into swirls, spreading pollen, tilting branches just so. You've flown with her before, countless times, but today you really see her, and maybe, just maybe, she's the sky's way of remembering to move. You both descend slowly now, toward the ground. The breeze hushes as you near the treetops. Leaves flutter one last time, then rest. Petals stop swaying. Even your own feathers settle. The wind is done with her lesson. For now, Mo lands beside you on a curved branch. You sit quietly, feeling the warmth of the bark beneath your toes. That was a lot, you say softly. Mo just smiles. Rain needs more than clouds and water. It needs breath. It needs motion. It needs someone to carry the sky's ideas across the world. You nod, letting that idea settle in. A dandelion seed floats past, riding the last hint of breeze. You follow it with your eyes as it spins and twirls, dancing with joy. Maybe the wind is just the sky dreaming out loud. You've looked at the sky. You've flown through clouds. You've met mist and drizzle and cold winds. But now you're back on the ground, hopping softly on damp soil, and you suddenly wonder, where does the water go after it falls? You peck the dirt with your beak, but the answer isn't up here. It's below. So you hop to a puddle and stare into it, like it might blink back. Instead, the puddle shivers. A tiny droplet runs off the edge and disappears into the soil. Down, you tilt your head. Water can go down. You flap to a nearby garden patch where the earth smells rich and alive. You watch as the rainwater slowly vanishes beneath your feet, swallowed by the ground like it's sipping a secret. You lean closer, your feathers brushing leaves still wet with drizzle. A worm peeks out and mumbles, "It's going below." That's where the real magic is, below. So you follow. Not by digging, of course. You're a bird, not a mole. But your mind dives deep, and suddenly you can see it. Like a dream that slips past your feathers. The water sinks past wriggling worms and tangled roots, slipping into spaces between grains of dirt, like threads sewing a hidden story. You imagine the raindrops as tiny explorers with backpacks, tumbling through tunnels of soil, squeezing past rocks and roots, whispering secrets to sleeping seeds. One droplet pauses beside a root hair, so small you'd miss it with your eyes. The root opens a tiny door. "Come in," it says. And so it does. Inside the root, the droplet is no longer just water, it's nourishment, turned into sap, pulled upward like an elevator through the plant's stem, feeding leaf after leaf until, puff, it escapes back into the air through 1,000 tiny pores. You watch it rise as invisible mist, swirling like breath from a sleeping forest. But not all water takes that path. Some droplets skip the root and dive deeper still. They slip between stones, trickle through gravel, and join others in a slow, ancient journey, down, 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 until the world above is just a memory. Beneath your claws, beneath the grass, beneath the worms and the tree roots, lies a world most birds never think about. a hidden maze of liquid threads. It's not still down there. It flows, just slower than your wings ever could. Streams move underground like glassy snakes, twisting around rock, brushing fossils, humming softly as they pass. You hear them now? Yes, hear them. Not with your ears, but with some quiet knowing. The underground water murmurs stories of old rain, ancient storms, and oceans that once whispered to mountains. You imagine droplets gathering in secret caverns, waiting. Some become springs that bubble up into mountain lakes. Others feed wells or burst out as hot steam through geysers. And some just wander, patiently inching their way toward rivers and oceans far away. And the most surprising part? It never ends. Water doesn't vanish. It doesn't retire. It transforms. One droplet can be part of a leaf, then part of a root, then part of a cloud, then part of the sea, then deep under your feet again, traveling silently below while everyone else watches the sky. You step back from the muddy garden and look around. The ground looks simple, quiet, but now you know. Beneath every pebble, every petal, there's a secret world where water moves like a story with no final chapter. You flap up to a fence post and shake the raindrops off your feathers. A breeze nudges you gently. The sky above is just half the tail. The rest is happening where no wing can reach. Beneath the moss, beneath the mud, where water hides and waits and wonders what it will become next. And so do you. You perch on a low branch, wings damp and feathers puffed, trying to shake off the drizzle. The storm has passed, but mist still clings to everything, like the air is reluctant to let the water go. Below you, the garden is soaked and glistening. Tiny rivulets slide along the veins of leaves. Drops gather at their tips like teardrops waiting to fall. You blink. Are the leaves breathing? You hop closer. A fat fig leaf curls slightly at the edges, and as the sun peeks out, steam begins to rise. Soft, ghostly trails lifting into the air. It's not the dramatic hiss of a kettle or the noisy splash of a fountain. It's quiet, gentle, almost secret. You lean forward, watching. All around, the garden exhales. Moisture lifts from bark, from petals, from blades of grass. The very soil beneath your talons seems to sigh. The warmth of the sun coaxes droplets out of everything. And suddenly, you see it. The rain didn't just fall. It's climbing back up. You open your wings, letting the rising warmth brush your chest. So it goes both ways, you murmur. Rain falls down, but it also goes up. You glance at a large puddle below. Its surface dances with tiny waves as steam curls upward like invisible smoke. You never noticed before. All those days when the ground dried after a storm, you just thought it was gone, vanished. But now you see it. It was leaving, quietly, patiently, up and away. A spider creeps out from beneath a leaf, carefully checking the web she left behind. Her silvery threads shimmer with dew. A single drop clings to the center, stretching her net like a jewel. As the mist rises, the drop thins and vanishes. The spider twitches one leg, as if she felt the exact moment it disappeared. You look at her. Do you know where it went? You ask, not really expecting an answer. She stays silent, of course, but you think you understand anyway. You leap down and land softly near a cluster of ferns. The delicate fronds are steaming too. The air here is thick with rising moisture, and you can smell the earth, rich, dark, alive. It's as if the garden is exhaling everything it drank, returning it to the sky, one breath at a time. Suddenly, a flutter of wings. A butterfly lands nearby, its wings wide, its body still. Even it seems to glow with mist, glistening in the golden light. You wonder if it feels the change in the air like you do. Then the breeze returns. A soft push against your back, curling around your wings and ruffling the trees. But this time, it doesn't carry cold or threat. It feels different, gentler, curious. It lifts the mist, helps it dance upward in spirals. You tilt your head. The wind is helping. You hop higher into the tree, curious now. The higher you go, the more you notice it. Steam drifting from every leaf, every crevice. A breath here, a sigh there, and all of it rising. You reach the topmost branch and perch beside a patch of moss. It's soaked, but even it steams faintly, like it too wants to return something to the sky. The air here is warm and thick. You breathe it in and close your eyes. This is where it begins again. You remember the clouds, the soft gray bellies overhead that had once held this water. Then they wept. The drops landed here, drank by roots, stored in stems, cradled by leaves. And now, those same drops are drifting back, climbing skyward to start again. It's not just rain, it's a rhythm. Fall, rest, rise, return. You open your eyes, wings twitching with understanding. Maybe this is what the garden has always known, that nothing stays, that water moves, that even stillness has a purpose. From this high up, you can see more puddles steaming. The roof tiles of the nearby cottage shimmer with warmth. Even the fence posts breathe mist. You never realized how much the world gives back after the rain. The air is changing again, cooler now. You feel it on your wingtips. Something is shifting. A whisper that the sky is not done, that more is coming. But you don't fly away just yet. You stay still, letting the steam pass around you, through you. You're part of it now. This dance, this breath, this endless up and down. Then, with a final puff of rising mist, the leaf beneath you twitches slightly. One last drop flings itself skyward and vanishes into the blue. And you smile. You tuck your wings tighter and lean into the breeze. It's not a strong wind, at least not yet, but it's playful, swirling gently around you like a curious friend. A soft current lifts you up from the leaf-laced branch and carries you above the treetops, where the sky opens wide. The air feels cool, tinged with something sharp and sweet. You flap once, then let go. You trust the wind. It whistles in your feathers and ruffles the leaves below. You see the world ripple, a sea of green that bends and sighs with every passing gust. Tiny swirls of pollen spiral upward in golden threads. A single red leaf dances on the wind's back beside you, like a kite without strings. You follow it. The wind tugs you eastward, then shifts again, north now, making no promises. It twists through the air like it's forgotten its destination, or like it has thousands. You realize it's not a road, but a rhythm. You begin to listen, not with your ears, but with your wings. Far below, a river glitters between waving reeds. The water's surface puckers where the wind touches it, making thousands of tiny dimples. Ripples spread like laughter. You wonder if the wind is tickling the river, Or maybe the river is laughing at a joke only the clouds understand. You glide lower and see dragonflies darting in the wind's slipstream, wings buzzing like tiny harps. A few hover, struggling to stay in place. Others give in and let the breeze carry them off. It makes you smile. You understand them. The wind doesn't push, it invites. Then the whispers begin. Not real voices, but something close. The rustle of grass, the whoosh through narrow mountain gaps, the shiver of pine needles brushing together. It's like the sky is breathing secrets, and you're just quiet enough to hear them. One whisper sounds like a song, humming through the rocks. Another feels like a warning, rising and fading before you can catch it. The wind rushes past your ears in bursts, almost like it's forming words. It doesn't speak in sentences, it speaks in moments, a swoop, a twist, a sudden stillness. Each gust is a suggestion, each pause, a question. You ride the breeze up toward a high, open sky. A wide valley yawns below you, dotted with wildflowers bending their heads in the same direction. You tilt one wing and spiral downward, letting the wind choose your path. It carries you through narrow gullies, where it whistles like a flute, then bursts out across rocky cliffs, loud and free. Here you catch sight of the clouds, far off, but gathering. They aren't dark yet, but they're no longer lazy. They drift with purpose, pulled by something you can't see. The wind seems to feel it too. It changes, less playful now, more focused. Still friendly, but with a mission. You fly beside a hawk for a moment. It glances at you, surprised to find such a small bird at this height. You ride the air just like it does, wings outstretched, letting the wind do the work. For a while, neither of you flaps. The silence is deep, just feathers and sky. Then from somewhere behind you, the wind pulls tighter. It presses forward like a story reaching its next chapter. You feel it in your chest before you hear anything. A low vibration, distant and rumbly. The clouds ahead begin to bunch together like sheep gathering before a storm. You start to understand what the wind was trying to tell you. Storms don't just appear. They are pulled, coaxed, shaped by the wind. The soft breeze that played with your feathers is the same force that builds the mighty clouds and guides the rains across the sky. It is the artist and the messenger. You flap hard now, wanting to stay with it longer. The wind lets you, looping once around your wingtips as if to say thank you or goodbye. It spins past, onward to the clouds, joining its siblings in their big, invisible work. Below, the trees sway harder. You see animals darting for cover, and the petals of wildflowers begin to close. The wind has changed. Not angry, but urgent. Its whispers are no longer questions. They're declarations. The storm is coming. You circle once more, watching the sky gather its strength. Then you dive down toward the edge of a tall hill, where you might find shelter beneath a large, hollow log. The wind still brushes your back, less playful now, but never cruel. It taught you how to listen. It taught you how the air moves, how it carries everything, from seeds to stories to storms. And just as you tuck yourself under the log and close your wings, you hear it. A distant rumble, like someone waking up far away. You press in closer, breath held. Thunder is coming. You hear it before you see anything. The low, rumbling growl that seems to rise from the belly of the sky. It starts as a distant hum, like a bear muttering in its sleep, then grows into a deep boom that shakes the branches around you. Your feathers fluff up in alarm. What was that? You glance around, heart pounding. The clouds overhead have turned a darker shade of gray, thick and moody. There's a sudden flash, so bright and fast that your eyes blink without asking. The trees around you are lit up for a second, then plunged back into dimness. Boom, the sky growls again, louder this time. It's not angry at you. It doesn't even know you're here, but it feels personal. You hop to a thicker branch and duck under some leaves, but you still peek out. You don't want to miss this. Another flash, like a quick whip of light. Then the grumble, slower this time, rolling across the clouds like heavy stones tumbling down a hill. You tilt your head. Why does the sky shout when it rains? And what's causing those sudden flashes? Suddenly, you remember something the pigeon said about water rising, gathering, and getting heavy. Maybe this has to do with that? You fluff your wings and take off, cautiously flapping toward the heart of the storm. You're not sure how close you can get, but your questions are louder than the thunder now. The air feels thick and heavy. Raindrops start to pelt you, bigger, fatter ones than before. They hit your feathers like tiny pebbles. Each beat of your wings is harder, like flying through soup. You struggle upward and reach a place where the clouds churn and twist. The sky here is not still. It's alive. Then you see it. A bolt of lightning tears across the sky in a jagged streak. It looks like a crack in the world, glowing white and sharp. And for a brief moment, you see inside the cloud. There are layers of mist, dust, ice, and vapor, all tumbling over each other in a frenzy. It's like a blender made of wind and water and static. You duck as another bolt strikes across the sky, this one branching into 3 fingers. A beat later, thunder follows, shaking your beak. You remember something now, something about static electricity. When air rubs against air, especially inside fast-moving clouds, it builds up energy. The cold bits and warm bits don't mix nicely. They rub and fight and pile energy on top of energy until, crack, lightning shoots out, looking for something to touch. It's like the sky is trying to balance itself again. You imagine the cloud shouting, "Too much, too much," and tossing out lightning to calm down. Thunder is just the sound of that outburst, like the echo of a tantrum. But the storm isn't only grumpy, it's working. This noisy, messy thing is part of how the world stays alive. The lightning helps split molecules in the air. The rain helps water the trees below. And the wind spreads seeds and cools the land. It's not just a show, it's a system. You perch on a thin tree swaying in the wind. The leaves flap like flags, and the thunder cracks again. It doesn't scare you this time. It's loud, yes. It rattles your bones and makes the ground throb. But now you understand. You think of the journey so far, from a single drop tapping your beak to the soft mist you followed, the cold air you felt, and the hidden cycle you slowly uncovered. This is another piece. The storm is a message, a turning point, a power surge that resets the sky. A sudden gust almost knocks you sideways. You flap hard, steady yourself, and look down. The earth is wet and sparkling. Puddles bloom like little lakes. Leaves shine, and somewhere, deep in a root, water trickles to wake a seed. Boom. The sky rumbles again, not as loud this time. Maybe it's calming down. Maybe it said what it needed to say. You blink raindrops from your eyes, puff out your chest, and whisper to the storm, "I hear you." And the sky, in its crashing, thundering voice, seems to whisper back, "Good." The sky rumbles again, but you barely have time to look up before the drizzle thickens into a sudden downpour. The soft taps become slaps. 1, 2, then dozens of fat drops pelt your wings and head like tiny pebbles thrown from the clouds. You squeak and flap hard, trying to stay steady, but the wind pushes sideways and the world blurs in sheets of water. The air smells sharp, earthy and electric, like the sky just peeled open something ancient. Below you, the branches bend and sway. You dart down toward a thick pine tree, shaking and dripping. You wedge yourself between two strong limbs and press your wet feathers flat, tucking your feet close. The rain pours harder. From here, inside the green shelter, you finally catch your breath. Outside, the forest disappears. Everything is grayed and rippling, like a dream where the lines blur and shapes forget to hold their edges. You watch tiny streams form on the branches. Water slips along pine needles and gathers into drops that dangle, wobble, then fall. Plop, plop. The sound is oddly calming. You listen. There's no rush, only the sky's steady whisper and the tree's slow breath. A squirrel scrambles past your branch, soaked and wild-eyed, clutching a soggy pine cone like treasure. It pauses to shake its tail furiously, spraying droplets into the air. You blink as some hit your face. You chirp at it. The squirrel squeaks back, but the rain drowns both your sounds. You each return to waiting. The longer you stay tucked beneath the tree, the more you notice. Rain doesn't just fall, it plays. It taps, it bounces, it slides. Some drops hit leaves and leap back up. Others race down bark like they're late for something. One lands right on your beak and clings there. You cross your eyes to look at it. It shivers, then rolls off with a tiny plop. You've been wet before, after a dip in a puddle or a morning bath in dew. But this is different. The rain doesn't stop. It soaks, insists, surrounds. It presses against you from every angle, as if the sky wants to make sure you feel its message. And you do. You don't feel afraid. You feel inside of something, like the air has turned into a river and you're a bird swimming in it. Maybe this is what fish feel when they hide beneath a rock in a stream. Safe, but small. Part of something big. Lightning flashes. A beat later, thunder thuds through the ground, and your branch quivers beneath your claws. You grip tighter. The squirrel freezes too, tail puffed wide like a question mark. You look out into the storm again. The drops fall faster now, but not harder. It's as if the storm is growing tired. The rhythm changes. You feel it in your chest. Drip, drip, drip. Pause. Drip, drip, drip. A deep sigh from the sky. You imagine the clouds above, emptied and loose, folding back into themselves. You imagine the drops falling far beyond your forest, onto rooftops and rivers and city streets, touching every corner of the world. You wonder what it's like for the worms below the dirt, or the frogs hiding in puddles. Are they scared? Do they welcome the wet? You notice your own feathers, how heavy they feel. You shake a little and watch the water fly off in tiny sparks. Your wings are tired, but stronger than before. The rain slows. The squirrel makes the first move, scampering upward and leaping to another tree. You chirp again, then stretch your wings wide. Drops scatter in all directions like a soft explosion. You step to the edge of your branch and look up. The clouds still swirl, but the deepest gray has lightened to silver. A soft glow begins to peek from behind the curtain. The storm has spoken, and now it's drifting off. You lift into the damp air. Everything smells new. The forest floor sparkles with puddles. Leaves glisten like polished glass. The wind has come to a hush, like someone turning down the volume to whisper a secret. And you feel something new inside you, too. Before, rain was just water. Now it's a song you've heard from within. A lesson not just of falling, but of pausing, of hiding, of listening. You glance once more at the tree that kept you dry-ish. Its bark is darker now, soaked through, and its branches still drip slowly, like it's crying gentle, happy tears. You chirp a thank you and rise. High above, beyond the last wisps of storm, you sense another story forming, one where the world begins again. Not because it forgot the rain, but because it remembers. The sound of falling rain fades, not all at once, but gently, as though someone is slowly turning the volume down on the world. You sit still, not daring to flutter a feather, letting each drop have its moment. First, the hard patter on the leaves lessens. Then the dripping slows. Then, silence. You peek out from your hiding spot beneath a twisted vine. The leaves above you tremble with the weight of leftover drops, and one lands right on your forehead with a soft plip. You blink. Everything glistens. The forest is wrapped in 1,000 tiny mirrors, each drop catching the gray light like a secret kept too long. You step out onto a low branch, careful not to slip. Your feathers are soggy and your wings heavy, but the air smells clean, almost sweet, like earth that's just woken up. The garden looks different now, no longer hiding under thick clouds or hurrying to stay dry. It sighs with relief. Raindrops hang on the tips of grass like beads of glass. Puddles form shiny eyes on the dirt paths. You hop from one leaf to another, then down to the ground. A worm pokes its head out nearby and gives you a lazy glance. You spot a small flower, its yellow face tilted towards the sky. It's open again, as if it had just blinked awake. You stare at it. Wasn't this the same flower that had curled in on itself when the rain began? You lean closer. Yes, it's the same, but brighter now, like it took a nap and dreamed of the sun. You move slowly through the wet garden. The sounds are different now. Soft plinks of water falling from branches, tiny splashes in puddles as beetles march across them. Everything feels slower, like the world is stretching. And then, chirp, one call, then another. Then suddenly, the whole garden breaks into song. Birds call from every corner, their voices sharp and fresh, as if they'd all taken deep breaths and couldn't wait to tell someone about it. You join in, unsure what you're saying, but certain it matters. Your voice echoes off wet leaves and bounces into the open air. Tweet, tweet. Above you, the clouds begin to break apart, like a cookie crumbling in slow motion. A soft light peeks through the gaps. Not hot or blinding, just warm enough to kiss the treetops and stir the air. A breeze rolls past your feathers and dries a few of the drops still clinging there. You lift your wings. Still soggy, still heavy, but lighter than before. You give a strong flap and hover up just a bit. The garden stretches out below, shining and colorful and alive. You land again to look closer. Where the rain had pounded the soil, now tiny green shoots push through. You stare at them, amazed. They weren't there before. You're sure of it. The rain didn't just fall. It grew something. A puddle reflects your face, all fluffed up and curious. You look closer. The puddle also reflects the sky, and something catches your eye. A soft arc of color is beginning to form, barely there, like the sky is coloring in its own drawing. You tilt your head. Could it be? But the rainbow hasn't finished yet. It's waiting, just like you were. You hop to a higher branch and sit down, watching everything dry, shift, shimmer. All the questions you've gathered seem to hum in your feathers, but they're not buzzing like before. They feel quiet, patient, like seeds planted in your mind, waiting for the right sunlight. Somewhere in the distance, water still drips, maybe from a taller tree, maybe from the clouds that haven't quite let go. You wonder how far that water will go. Will it slip down a leaf, run across a stone, find its way to a stream? Will it return to the sky again, one day? The thought makes you smile, even if you're not sure why. You close your eyes and breathe. The world breathes with you. The rain has stopped, but the story hasn't. You stay still. The storm is gone, but a hush lingers, like the world is catching its breath. The ground is soft beneath your claws. Wet leaves sparkle with leftover drops. Each blade of grass leans slightly, heavy with water. The air smells different, cleaner, as if someone scrubbed the sky. You puff your feathers to shake off a chill. Even your wings feel heavier now, like they soaked up the rain along with everything else. You stretch them out, letting sunlight fall across your back like a warm blanket. Then you see it. A curve of color, soft but bright, stretches from one end of the sky to the other. It arches gently like a sleepy smile. A rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. You whisper the colors like they're magic words, like each one holds a tiny secret. You flap once and rise slowly, careful not to disturb the stillness. You follow the arc as far as your wings will take you, even though you know you'll never quite reach it. Rainbows don't wait for visitors. They just appear, quietly, like the sky saying, "I'm okay now." High above the trees, you look down. The puddles below sparkle like scattered gems. Sunlight bounces off every surface. Rocks, bark, the still shivering wings of a butterfly hiding under a leaf. You spot tiny worms wriggling free from the mud. Ants rush back to rebuild their tunnels. A snail creeps up a branch, leaving a silver trail behind. Everything moves again. The rain woke them up. You perch on a branch and tilt your head. Is that what rain does? It's not just about falling from clouds or making puddles. Rain wakes the world. It knocks on the roofs of mushrooms. It taps on windows. It rattles old seeds and whispers, "It's time." And somehow, things listen. You peek at a crack in the soil. A green shoot pushes upward, new and determined. It's still curled at the top, like a baby stretching after a nap. You chirp softly to it. Welcome, you think. The sky made this moment for you. Above you, the clouds drift apart, like sheep heading home. Their edges glow gold, lit by the low sun. You can't tell if they're proud of what they've done or if they've already forgotten the storm. But you haven't. You remember the drip, drip, drip on your feathers, the way the world blurred, the hush under the tree, the splash in the puddle, the thunder's warning growl, the mist curling like breath from the leaves. Each piece fits now. Every drop led to this moment. A tiny flower opens its petals. Just one. You wonder how long it's waited. Days, weeks? Maybe it couldn't bloom until the rain came. Maybe it needed to be washed clean before it dared show its face. Like the sky. You hop to the edge of a stone and gaze up. Where does the rain go now? It sinks into roots. It slides down stems. It vanishes into dirt. Some of it lifts again. If you stare closely, you can see it. Little threads of mist rising off warm surfaces, curling into the air. Already, the invisible part of the cycle has begun. Already, the sky is calling the water back. It never ends. You realize something. Rain isn't just one moment. It's a story the world tells itself over and over. A loop. A breath in and out. The clouds sigh. The earth drinks. The flowers bloom. The air clears. The sun watches. And then, again, you flutter higher, drawn toward the space where the rainbow fades. It's getting dimmer now, but that's okay. Rainbows are shy. They never last long, and maybe that's what makes them special. You land once more beside the little sprout. It's taller now, barely, but it's reaching. You both are. The rain made this moment for you, you think again, and this time, you know it's true for you too. Because even though you were cold and wet and frightened in the storm, you stayed with it. You listened, you watched, you wondered, and now you understand. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to know the sky doesn't cry, it gives. Enough to know rain isn't the end of a sunny day. It's the beginning of something else. Enough to feel lucky that you were there to see it. The world exhales. You do too. And the sky, quietly, starts over. You flap higher, higher still, until the garden and the trees shrink beneath your wings. The sky stretches out in all directions, and ahead of you floats a massive cloud. It's not dark and growly like a storm cloud, but soft and bright, almost glowing. It's close now. You blink. A whole cloud, just floating there, waiting. Your wings hesitate. It's one thing to watch clouds from below, but to fly inside one. What if it's cold? What if you disappear? But curiosity, as always, taps your beak. You dive. The cloud wraps around you like misty feathers. It's not fluffy, not like the pillow you'd imagined. It's damp, cool, tingly. Droplets settle on your feathers, on your beak, your tail. You can't see more than a wing's length in any direction, just white, milky air. It's quiet. No wind, no chirping. Just you and the breath of the sky. You beat your wings slowly now. It's like swimming through invisible threads of water. You realize this is where raindrops are born. Right here, in this floating mystery, you picture the vapor gathering, cooling, clinging into droplets, just like you saw with the pigeon. But now, you're inside it. You're part of the breath that turns into rain. And then, tiny movements. You notice something shift above your head. A wisp of vapor drifts apart. Then another. You fly upward, following the trail, until the white begins to thin. Suddenly, you burst out of the cloud, and the world below reappears like magic. The garden sparkles. The trees stretch. The river glints. You hover there, soaked in wonder. Behind you, the cloud still floats, silent and steady, full of secret water. You think of all the pieces now, how a drop taps your beak, how the sun vanishes behind clouds, how water hides in the air, how the sky grows heavy, how wind pushes, how thunder grumbles, how leaves breathe, how the rain falls, and how the earth soaks it in. You've been following a loop, a secret spinning circle in the sky. And here you are, at the heart of it. You flap once more and glide through the edge of the cloud again, just to feel it, just to know. As you pass through, it feels like flying through time itself. You think of tomorrow, of the next rain, of all the birds who never wondered, and the ones who still might. Below, a tiny sprout shakes a droplet from its leaf. The sky exhales again. And you're part of it now. You soared, you listened, you felt the sky breathe. Now even the clouds are still. Raindrops no longer race. They nap on the tips of grass. It's time. Let the quiet wrap around you like wings. Sleep gently, little one. Tomorrow waits beyond the clouds, and the sky never runs out of stories.